Hello, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chuck. Thank you very much for being here today. Happy Monday. We like to talk about investing in the Pokemon space, primarily sealed, but we do look at singles and slabs and all of the things. We have another Monday market update for you today. We're going to be going through a lot of Scarlet and Violet sets, Destined Rivals. We're going to be looking at Sword and Shield, talking about some plays that I think are good in the market, talking about where prices are right now, and generally just where we can foresee them going. On Saturday, we did a stream talking about what the Pokemon Company could do to lower prices. It doesn't seem like much is getting done right now. They're printing max capacity. And demand is still outpacing supply. That is where we stand. If you want to go see my thoughts as to some potential solutions for that, make sure to check out that stream VOD and on my channel if you're interested.
Guys, shout out to the Shiny app for sponsoring today's video. If you collect sealed Pokemon product, you want to know and track with real-time price updates how your product is doing. They have a scanner that's super accurate. I've enjoyed using it. The best part is the market updates twice a day, unlike competitors, thanks to exclusive data deals that they have. And I've been really impressed with the UI. It's super clean. It's really fast. So if you're serious about collecting, you should have the Shiny app. Links down below.
But to start, Destined Rivals is selling for $700. Well, we had one sale at $725. I would still say between $400 and $500, which is still insane considering Saturday night when we were streaming, we said it was a $400 box and that we could expect $550, $600 by the end of the year if they don't make booster boxes. Even if they do, that might be the case at this rate. But here we are, $425. 429, 430. We had a couple sales at 379, 490. Good luck getting this box under $400 right now. It's not gonna happen. I don't know what the future holds for Destined Rivals. My side quest is still on where I try to buy products at MSRP, but we haven't really gotten any Destined Rivals in a bit. The focus has been on Prismatic and now Mega Evolution, which comes out on Friday this week. Very interesting. Talk about that here too. But yeah, as long as demand is outpacing supply, the most popular sets are going to outperform and continue to go up. So there's a lot more, we'll say, pain, but really higher prices in the future before they come down, in my opinion. And that's kind of where we are. We're in this weird price discovery, just hyper demand, hyper consumerism, consumeristic mindset. Assets are super inflated, generally speaking. And so this is kind of what you see. So Destined Rivals, the PCTB is up. Everything is up. Everything is expensive. The booster box, the clear standout. I still believe it'll be a $600 box by the end of the year. That might be conservative. Point. Now, am I buying it? I'm not. I'm not buying at these prices. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. This is just a wait and see, hold. If I miss out, I miss out. It is what it is for Destined Rivals, but it is clear it is the best set of this era, the Scarlet and Violet era. Let me rephrase. It is the best booster box of the era. I think it's arguably the best set. And I think it's going to continue to do well. Card prices are going up. A lot of singles continue to move up. So yeah, it's crazy. What's crazier are Mega Evolution's pre-release prices, which this happens every release, where cards are selling for $450, ETBs are selling for $100, PCTB combo $400. We have booster boxes selling for $265 in the high 200s, I would say. By the way, this box looks terrible. I am so disappointed with how booster boxes have looked for the better part of the last decade. Can we have some cool images on them again? I just, I understand cost. It's all about cost and price and margins, but like, come on, man. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, Mega Evolutions, there is no need to buy this pre-release at these elevated prices. Pretty insane. We are looking to get some Mega Charizard X Ultra Premium Collection boxes. We need a new name for this. I guess the Zard X box, what we'll say. We're expected to get 3 million of these this year. 3 million. So there's no need to buy at these prices. I think you'll have opportunities to get them at MSRP for sure. If you hold out. But yeah, Mega Evolution going for very high. I have to believe that prices are going to drop post release as they always do. Now the thing is, we're getting basically two waves of the same wave, two kind of releases, I suppose, where we get a percentage of the first wave on, initially, and then I guess another percentage of that first wave in the coming weeks. So, I think people are aware of that, but it might do some wonky things to price points in Mega Evolution, where there's a potential scenario where boxes, they don't really drop that much post release. Maybe they do a bit and then they recover and then they keep going up and then they drop a little bit on the next release and then they skyrocket after that. I hope that doesn't happen. We don't really know the print amounts of anything, but it doesn't seem like Mega Evolution is going to be anything crazy. So yeah, I guess I'm worried about boxes for this. I have one at MSRP coming to me. I'm probably just going to hold on to that and call it a day, but try to get some product to rip. It'll be fun. Hopefully I can get some on Friday and do it on the next stream. Which, by the way, as it stands, Earn Collects is coming on the stream this upcoming Sunday. So definitely come and tune in. We're going to do some pretty in-depth market speak that I think will be really valuable to you guys. So yeah, shout out to Earn. Anyway, moving on, Prismatic Evolutions. Singles are going up. The Sunbreon is pretty much, I would say, well over $900, probably pushing 1,000 if it's minty, and maybe even a little bit higher. I did pull this. I am grading it. It is currently being graded. I am hoping for a 9. If I get super lucky, I'll get a 10, but I highly doubt I will because there is some surface damage. But yeah, prices on, ETB cases are extremely expensive. You're looking at basically $1,500, I would say. PC ETBs, this is basically a $400 PC ETB. It'll probably keep going. $500 probably very soon. Booster bundle displays, to me, given the price point of loose being around 50, 55, you can probably get in bulk. $1,500 for this thing seems pretty expensive. I understand that they were printed in the UK and the EU or whatever. Maybe they weren't really in the US, but that is a big price point disparity that I'm not willing to pay. Rudy from Alpha Investments, I believe he put in like 200 grand or something into the SPC. So we had a massive pop up on this product. It is now $300. That is crazy work. Prismatic is just pumping all across the board. Singles are continuing to rise. We have a figure collection dropping this week with 2 promos inside, the Sylveon and the Umbreon, which they're not my favorite, but they are probably going to do pretty well, and they are going to be gradable. So a lot of people are going to be looking at that box. Let's see. These 2-pack blisters are doing well because the promo inside is like a Pokemon Day exclusive EV. So those have moved up quite a bit. I think regular ETBs are what, like 130 right now, or maybe 120. 130. This is a $130 ETB. 120, 130 bucks. No longer can you really find these on Facebook for the classic 90, 100, unless maybe you get 1 or 2 here and there a little bit north of that. But we were saying that, those were pretty good plays. I wasn't personally buying those, but I know a lot of people who were, and the justification was there. And now those people are very happy that they did. And we've been saying this for quite a while about Prismatic. Last month, the Pokemon Company has put a lot of focus into Prismatic Evolutions. With all the recent bundles and 10s and, the Lucario boxes. It was only a matter of time before they started printing something else. More than likely, printing at that capacity for Prismatic, releasing directly through big box stores. It seems like they're going to pull back a little bit in the short term on Prismatic. We'll see, right? But, I demand is, again, it was kind of level with supply, but now it's just kind of going and going. So expect higher prices for these guys. I don't know what this ETB will be by the end of the year. Nobody does, but I almost bet it will be higher than it is right now. 151, not a lot of attention on it just because it's pumped so much recently, but the ETBs are 400 bucks. The PCTBs are pushing 1,000, the UPC pushing 600, it looks like. And yeah, that's to be expected. A little bit of a flattening after this pump. But yeah, bundles are going for about 90, I would say, market. I actually think the booster bundle displays are a relatively good play right now. But a lot of people thought that, and now they were kind of bought up. You know, as those loose bundles get closer to the display price, I think it makes more sense. So something like 151 is more intriguing to me, around 1,500. But again, very high premium on those guys, and it makes sense. The 151 Mini 10 display was going for like 280, and it looks like they're pretty much been bought up to like 300. I think it's fair to say this is like a $300 display. And yeah, cards are still going up. Zapdos is like 100. Alakazam is 60. We were screaming this is a buy at 40. And here it is. Venusaur 86. But I mean, if you bought any of these, you would have been fine. So, you know, I'm still expecting big things from 151 as it rotates out in April. Same thing with Paldean Fates. You know, the ETBs are 300. The PC ETBs are $500. I just bought one for 181 a couple months ago. And here we are. Bubble Mew, this will be a $1,000 card. It is kind of retraced a little bit from its highs of about $100. It's like in the 600s. This Charizard, I think I remember saying that anything under 200 was like a great buy for this, and now it's $400. Literally, no, it's more like 300 actually. Still very expensive, and I still think these will move up. So yeah, bundles over $100, pretty much $100 bundle at this point. Let's move on to Surging. You know, I guess to close on Paldean, we'll keep an eye on this, but yeah, the Gardevoir, all the top chase cards are super expensive. Everything is super expensive. We haven't gotten a ton of product recently. Surging Sparks is interesting. We talked about the booster box recently. It is now a $275, $300 box. A lot of purchases around that $250 price point. Pretty impressive sales volume, all things considered. You know, it was flat for a while in that kind of mid 200s, low 200s range. And now it's pretty much closing in on a $300 box. The top singles, even after all the Costco bundles and after all the booster boxes and products, they're moving up. They're still moving up in spite of all of that. So there is a big problem in this space right now where everything is just going to go up and it's just going to get worse, I think, in the holiday season. Paldean Evolved, PCTBs, Pikachu promo, $700, going fairly consistently. Pretty high sales volume for a product like that with a perceived lower liquidity. Yet we have not hit that. Which is why I tend to be cautious about PCTBs as we inevitably will have a slower market one day. Just because I think they'll be so expensive and there'll be a smaller market for them at these price points. But for now, they're just raging and they're outperforming everything, and it is what it is. The Raichu, Tyranitar, and 10's getting more expensive. The Groudon, I think, is like a $600 card in a 10. It's a $100 card raw. And the booster box is $485. It is pretty much more expensive, or around the same price as Silver Tempest, Brilliant, and Chilling, which we have talked about in the stream. I'll probably make a video on this soon. You know, I think a lot of momentum has moved away from Sword and Shield. That's like in Destined Rivals, Prismatic, the top booster boxes of the Scarlet and Violet era, Mega Evolution, Phantasmal. But right now, Sword and Shield is sleeping a little bit. And for me, you know, once we see big moves up from Sword and Shield, we tend to have like a couple month consolidation period where like January it consolidated, April it made a move, May it had a big move, consolidated for a couple months, and boom, big move. So we might be in a period of not a ton of demand for these sets, relatively speaking, of course, to something like Destined Rivals or Paldean Evolved. But Brilliant Stars, you know, sub $500, it seems like they're selling for on eBay. To me, that's a great deal. Again, like not a ton of risk there. They're not making more of these It's a pretty strong set. It's not top 3 in the era, but it's probably top 5. Um, and I think for me, when you're thinking about money that's safe, like I feel very confident this will be $1,000 booster box in a relatively short amount of time, probably by the end of next year. 100% gain between now and then with pretty much no risk, relatively speaking. Um, I think is a pretty good buy right now. Same thing with Silver Tempest, but just a notch lower, selling for the same price as Paldean Evolved. Now, I've made kind of some points about why I think that is. Again, I'll probably make a full video on this later this week. But here you are, sub $500 Silver Tempest, finding a bottom here. Same with Brilliant. Chilling's kind of in the same boat. We had big runs up. Now it's kind of chilling in that, $500, $550-ish price range. And so, expect a bit of a consolidation here for Sword and Shield. I think if you were interested in buying Sword and Shield, now is a pretty damn good time to kind of DCA into these sets. Obviously I'd be prioritizing the top sets of the era. Fusion Strike, well over $1,000. Not, I think it separated itself as a top set in the era, and there's a lot of support around that $1,000 price point. Pretty high sales volume, and it's going to be probably $1,400, $1,500 by the end of the year. Honestly, once we get another move up, maybe $1,300, somewhere in that range, right? So for me, that's like relatively safe money. And as more supply gets chewed through, then that's only going to mean good things for this guy. A lot of these Sword and Shield sets as they get older in age. Same goes for Lost Origin. Lost Origin's a little bit north of $800. Still pretty high sales volume. Top 3 set of the era. So I'm expecting like an $1,100, definitely north of $1,000 booster box for Lost Origin. Evolving Skies, I think we maybe had a sale at $3,000, but to be honest, it's really closer to $2,600, $2,700 in that range. So keep an eye on this box, this set in particular. A lot of the other products are moving up, like the ETBs and the sleeved packs and things like that. Eventually, as it sits flat for a little while, there will be some more pressure and maybe even a buyout as the market accepts these higher prices for Sword and Shield. Maybe Destined Rivals is a bit too expensive for most people's liking at like $500-$600. And, Sword and Shield, Evolving Skies, iconic set, a 10% move up at that point, 20% move up, you're looking at north of $3,000. So, keep an eye on this. Tends to move before some of these other boxes. But yeah, I think Brilliant Stars for me is a box that I'm eyeing right now just because I don't have it for my personal collection. I think it'd be great to have. And I think this is a pretty solid price point with a good track record and relatively low risk. And I say relatively because it's Pokemon at the end of the day. Let's look at some Probstein auctions just to get a feel for where some money is flowing. Now, remember with auctions and consignment in general, there is shill bidding. Not every purchase is paid for, but I have a feeling it's mostly cards that see some shill billing, and I bet Sealed does a little bit better because I think they're more serious buyers for the long term. So booster bundle display 151, 1675, selling on Probstein. That's pretty much top dollar in my opinion. And I think it will continue to move up as the bundles go up. Black Bolt White Flare, a lot of 2 sealed bundle displays, 1677. Bro, these guys are going to do pretty well long term, particularly the Black Bolt. If I can get one for a decent price, I'm definitely going to be interested in these. But I bet the word is going to be out on them pretty soon. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do a little bit more research, but I think Black Bolt and White Flare is undervalued. Black Bolt is the best set to rip for profit, which I made a video on Saturday. Get the highest percentage back of the pack price, which is basing it on an $8 pack price, which means it's really quite higher if you're getting it at MSRP, which a lot of people are still. Or at least it's not as difficult as something like Prismatic. So, I think there's an opportunity for Black Bolt to make a play. And I think these sets will only age better. And there's a potential that we get a remake of Black and White at some point over the next few years, which a lot of people are speculating. These sets are great. I think the chase cards are phenomenal, and it's fun to open. Black Bolt White Flare. I'm looking at it. I think if you want to look at the space and look at where nobody else is looking, dude, nobody's looking at Black Bolt and White Flare for investment right now. I truly believe that. So these booster bundle displays, I might look into get a Black Bolt because I don't think it's really going to get any cheaper from this point on. That's a take that I have, and I feel pretty good about it, to be honest. I don't care about the Gen 5 hate. I think Gen 5 is great. I think a lot of people like it. Anyway, Crown Zenith booster bundle lot, $100 each plus a little bit extra. Japanese Gengar Pristine CGC 2000. Here's a Lost Origin $898, pretty expensive. Sealed booster bundle display for a Prismatic at $1375. Probably not a bad deal, to be honest. You know, if I can get one sub 1300, I might consider doing that. Just because of the trajectory of Prismatic and the perceived scarcity of this product, which, you know, I think there's definitely potential for us to get a lot more bundles in the future, as they potentially move away from ETBs as they have in the past. Evolution selling for 2,000. We got a Evolving Skies sleeve pack, lot Fusion, Lost Origin 841. Here's some like crazy mega brave Japanese 10s being sold for ridiculous prices. If you're buying these, that is goofy, as they say. This could be a shill bid. I'm not sure, but that seems crazy to me. I guess the pull rates for these gold cards might be technically pretty hard, but I don't care. It's a gold card. Like, buying this pre-release is just... I mean, I guess Japanese is out, but you know what I'm saying. 2688 Evolving. Still pretty good volume on Evolving. It has found a base over 2,500 in my opinion. So yeah, this will be a $3,000 box before you know it. But again, a little consolidation on Sword and Shield. That's where I'm looking right now. Lost Origin 840. We got some prismatic boxes, pouch, Japanese Victini, CGC Pristine 10, 1600, another poncho. Gold Star Mewtwo 23, another poncho. We got a Suicune Gold Star 9, 1800. City in Flames is selling for north of $300 now. Definitely outperforming a lot of people's expectations. Which is pretty impressive. Silver Tempest, Lugia, 1075, pretty good price in my opinion for a 10 of this card. 760 on a Lost Origin box, not the prettiest box in the world, but honestly, I think some of the damage is a little bit overlooked sometimes, but if you have some messed up boxes, like I have a messed up Paradox box, probably going to offload it once it hits like $300 just because it'll be harder to sell in a bear market, and I can get close to top dollar for it even in that condition. So that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, you got some ETBs, Hidden Fates 430. You have a number of kind of vintage cards here, another Obsidian. And yeah, just a bunch of junky slabs, and then a really ugly Brilliant Stars box for $415. I probably wouldn't buy this, but hey, if you're ripping it, that's as cheap as you'll ever get that box, more than likely. But here's a slightly better looking one, not really minty, a little bit loose, but not terrible. $520 plus shipping. And remember, Probstein, like, to me, it feels like it's top dollar on a lot of these products. You might be able to get something cheaper locally, or if you know somebody, or at a card show, you know what I mean? So yeah, Obsidian Flames still going crazy. Sealed products for this. The Charmander promo is getting up there. Yeah, just a lot of other slabs. Japanese 151. Mega Evolution Charizard. I pulled this back in the day. Pretty cool. All tarts are still doing quite well. $355 for this Brilliant Zard and a 9. So I'm saying Brilliant Stars is something. It's something. Shrouded Fable, Pokemon Center ETB, $659 for a case. A really beat up case with a terrible label. It seems like a terrible buy to me. That's my opinion. Lost Origin sealed box, $781. You know, you got another 151 display, 17 hundo for that guy. Korean Ditto promos are doing pretty well, and yeah, just still a lot of money flowing into singles and whatnot. Destined Rivals lot, $325. This guy's looking pretty good, even though that's a fairly high price with tax and shipping and all that. Looking pretty good right now, though. So it's amazing how quickly things can increase in this space. This is crazy. 3 blister packs, sealed Deoxys. You got, Gold Star special here. Unseen Forces, Delta Species, Deoxys. With the Sceptile promo, dude, 57 hundo. Whew, that is crazy expensive. But there's definitely a market for those rare EX era blisters. They're really cool. Here's a Prismatic Umbreon and a 10. I can't wait till mine comes back and it's not a 10, but it is what it is. I'm hoping for a 9, but if I get a 10, I'll probably lose my mind, immediately sell it, and buy something cool. I don't know, do a crazy giveaway or something. I just want to filter by high prices just for funsies. Do 1,000 minimum. Yeah, a lot of bundle displays. We've already kind of seen a lot of these. I'm going to move it up to 2,000. Oh, can I not do that? Here we go. 2,000. That was 1,500. Let's do over 2,300. See what's selling. Yeah, big Evo lots, ponchos, gold stars, Chinese. 25 broken seal with an acrylic. That box looks awful. I would not buy that. We had a Sword and Shield brilliant case. What is the math on this? 4,000? Let's see. 4,050 divided by 6. That is $6.75 a box. So the premium is there. That was like higher than I thought it was going to be, to be honest, in my head. Roaring 3,900. Oof. Cosmic 4,700. Crazy. I would love a box of that. Destined Rivals 2,500. That's cheap now. This is about a week ago. So yeah, all in there. Crazy stuff. And look, I think things are going to get worse before they get better. I don't see any slowdown happening this year. I am curious to see what products they're going to super print this year into the holiday season. Seems like the Charizard X UPC, maybe some ETBs or something. We'll see, right? I'm excited for it. I'm terrified. I guess I'm happy about my portfolio. I'm definitely making a mental list of things I want to offload. My plan is to not sell anything this year. I will certainly let you guys know if that changes, but I have no reason to do that at the moment. The things I'll prioritize are big collection boxes and like damaged products or kind of subpar set products that I have, which to be fair isn't a ton, but yeah, just my thoughts there. If Destined Rivals hits $1,000, I am absolutely offloading that. That is gone. Goodbye. Sayonara. It is what it is. If it hits 1,000, I think the Pokemon space will lose its mind. I don't know if it will, but it would be crazy. Very crazy. So thank you again to the Shiny app for sponsoring today's video. Check out the Discord down below if you want to continue the discussion for investing. Talk about singles, sealed, all the stuff in there. We do giveaways. There's a giveaway live ending at the end of this month. It is actually this product, a little blister of my own. 3 birds with Astral and Silver Tempest. Very nice. So all you have to do is join the Discord and enter the giveaway. So yeah, guys, appreciate it again. Thank you very much. Be safe. Try not to be too emotional in this space. Enjoy the ride, and have a plan, what I would say. So yeah, thank you again. Another Monday market update in the books. Earn on Sunday, so join the stream. Come with good questions. Very excited for that. Until next time, goodbye, my friends.